Well, hello everybody. So I let it dry. You at this point can add more layers and just keep it plaster feel. I actually had the idea of going in and making another leaf that was a little more dimensional, but I'm just going to move forward on this project. So I have some metallic colors, and then I have some regular solid color that I'm going to mix to maybe get a slight metallic color, but also tone down or lighten any of the tones that are on there. So my first instinct for this project was to kind of create a bit of a wash, and then I thought maybe go gold. Couldn't really decide, but I'm just going to go for it. And you want to start off by tearing off a piece of paper towel, fold the insides in so you don't have any oopses. Yeah, so I'm going to just dip into this brown color. It is a burnt umber, so it's a little warm, but also cool. And it's very thin, which is kind of what I wanted. And I'm just gonna take this color and just add it a little here and add it a little there. You can also take your brush with water and add a little bit of water to this so that it goes on even more kind of opaque. Anyway, you want to just kind of add where some of the darker areas would be, just where the light would kind of catch the shadow. And it would be darker underneath than it would be above. And we'll just say the light source is here. So anything that's brighter should be up here. Anything that's darker should be down here. So just creating a little bit of a wash. And we'll just go to the other. We don't really want to overthink it, but we also don't want to do a whole lot. So just a little tiny bit here and there. And my paint is now a little thinner, which is great. It was a little harsher on this side. And maybe just a little bit underneath this segment, or where the middle of the flower is, just underneath. All right. So now I kind of want to do the same thing with the gold, and now you just start to see the relief build up so that it looks a little bit more dimensional. I want to add gold to this. I'm going to use the same kind of technique. And this gold goes on a little bit darker, but then when it dries, it actually dries a little bit more yellow. So just going to kind of streak on the top. Give it a little bit of a metallic feel. And we're going to tone it down with some other colors. So we're just going to kind of layer these. Add some to the top of the leaves. And eventually this will change color and just be a little bit golder, a little bit lighter. But as you can see, the relief is showing back up and it doesn't feel so just plastery. So we're just kind of creating just this little wash that goes over it to re-raise some of our flowers. All right, if you want, you could let this dry, or also take a wet paper towel and just clean up some of the extra areas that may have gotten a little bit too much than what you wanted on there. So I think I have a little bit too much brown, gold. I'm not sure what color that was. But just kind of wipe up the areas you don't really want to show up like that. Okay, so I think that's pretty good. All right, so we want to start, I want to make the middle a little bit yellow. So I'm going to take a brush and I want to add just a little touch of white and a tiny dab of yellow just to get a really soft yellow in here. And we'll do it to both. Maybe just a little warmer. All right, I'm super excited to paint the petals, so we'll just start off with pink. And I have my metallic colors on this. And I just wanted to soften up, just add a little bit of the softer pink. I'm leaving the ends just a little bit whiter. And I will probably paint the inside a little bit pinker, darker pink. So we have a little bit of shimmer, kind of fun. Really subtle though, not really in your face bright color. And we'll do that for this one. Keep them consistent. All right, so I've got my pink on there. I think I went a little too far on the outside, so I'm just going to clean that up a little. All right, and I want to add a little tiny bit of dark green and a little blob of that metallic green. And I wanted to kind of add a little to this. I'll just swipe it on the leaf. I'm going to clean off a smaller brush and kind of water it down a little. Also, the smaller brush gives you a little bit more control. I want to go ahead and okay, so I want to go ahead and take a little bit of that lighter green and a little dab of that yellow to give it a kind of metallic lime green. And then I just want to mix this in there. And just kind of let the darker green undertone show through. Maybe add a little touch of white. All right, so we're just adding a little bit more, going over it. Taking a little longer to dry, which is great because now the colors can kind of blend together. And I'm just kind of tapping it on just to incorporate that brighter color, but also to blend with the background colors. And that green is still just a little wet, which is a great fixative. And you can go back into the darker green and add it where you need to. If you go over any of the browns, it should tone it down a little, but it does kind of give it that little pop. All right, so I'm going to continue using a small brush, and I'm going to go into this darker pink color. And I just want to start to add a little bit of the darker pink in the center. I'm going to add just a little tiny bit to the petals just to Give a little bit more vibrancy to these. All right, so I've kind of given a little bit of thought to the background, and I do kind of want it to be a little bit of a lighter blue. So I have this lighter blue one, and I'm going to kind of create a little bit of a wash so that it's very subtle and almost like a barely there. And I'm going to use the little bit darker blue just to give it a little bit more of a pop of color, just on the upper portions. All right, well, I'm going to try a little bit of a lighter yellow gold. We'll see how this goes. And just kind of add a little bit to my middle, just to get a little bit warmer feel, and also hide a little bit of the white. And maybe even warm up some of the flowers where the top portions are still just a little darker. Part of it still is going to show through, but I just wanted to soften that a little. Felt a little too harsh. I'm going to mix a little bit of both of these colors and just try to go around. Try to go around the inside. Just give it a little bit more of a, maybe like a shadow, or just a little bit more dimensionality. Just kind of soften that up a little. Gonna add a little tiny bit of white, pat it on there. Maybe even go back into my pink and just kind of tone down some of that brown. Well, honestly, you guys, you can paint them any way you would like. So you can change the colors. I just wanted to keep it just a soft, kind of metallic, shiny, kind of just background. So just when you hang it on the wall and you walk by, the light will catch it. It'll look three-dimensional, and it may make people stop and go, "What?" This is also a great project for kids' rooms. So if you have a little girl that loves flowers, you can make a whole bunch of these. Change it to, I don't know, all pink or different degrees of pink. It's really up to you, but this is what I did, and you guys can do it differently, but that's how you make three-dimensional flowers. Anyway, you guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a thumbs up, a like, a share, show the love, subscribe. But if you keep wanting me to do these, you got to do all those things, and I'll keep on going. Anyway, you guys, thanks for coming. Have a great day, and we'll see you in the next one. So that's pretty much the final product. Check out my other video where I make three-dimensional bees that can land on the flower, and butterflies.